Why hello there guys, welcome back to another Train Sim World 2 video. It's me, QwertyAfro, and for today's video, a route and train, just generally that I wish I covered when it came out, but look, we're not talking about that. I hope you're enjoying the sort of like plethora of videos that I'm kind of putting on the channel, and you're enjoying the sort of comeback and regularity of like videos in your subscription feeds. I don't know if people are not seeing, because I'm getting a lot of comments where people are commenting on like my 5th or 4th video into like this sort of like comeback onto the channel, where people are like, oh, I didn't realize that you were actually making videos again. I think obviously with YouTube, I don't want to be the one to say it, and I hate like doing all the things of like saying like, subscribe and comment and do everything like what every sort of other sort of YouTuber does. But I'm only going to say this once, and in terms of like, if people want to see my videos now that I'm kind of back sort of regularly on my YouTube channel, if you want to see my videos in your feed, you're going to have to click the bell, because it's annoyingly with YouTube is that if you don't press that bell and get all the notifications, I might come in your feed, I might not, I don't know, but people seem not to be seeing my videos pop up in their feeds. But I'm just going to say it once, just ring the bell, you know the drill. It's only if you want to be notified of like, you know, seeing my videos in your subscription feed. I'm not going to like badger on about it. I'm not one of those YouTubers that goes like, subscribe, do all of that sort of jazz. I know people that watch my videos. If they want to subscribe, if they want to like it, they know what to do. It's there. They know how to watch YouTube videos. I'm not gonna force feed that sort of kind of scripted kind of stuff that people always say on like a YouTube channel. Anyway, today this is going to be my last Train Sim World 2 video, because obviously, if you don't know, Train Sim World 3 is coming out, and I thought a perfect way to end the sort of era of Train Sim World 2 would be to do one of the routes that I wish I actually did when it came out, and that is, of course, the London Underground Bakerloo Line. We're just going to do a simple run. We're just going to do a simple run here from Harrow and Wealdstone to Elephant and Castle. I think everything is sort of like set up on the train. Controller key is in. We're going to get that in. We're going to get into that position. One thing we can do is we can actually put the blind, which I like that it's like sort of like, it actually doesn't attach to the thing properly, so you can have it like, if you want to have it just a bit like off there, but my OCD is going to just kill me, so I'm just going to put it bang on in the middle. But it's nice that it's not like, it doesn't lock in like it doesn't lock in like you know, on some of those things where you like click to do different positions, it just locks it in straight away. I like that it's like fully manual, and you can just leave it any way you kind of sort of want, or you could just leave it in the wrong thing. Like I see some of the Bakerloo Line trains with the wrong destination and board that they've been forgotten to be changed by the driver. That's totally fine. Headlights I do believe are on. We're going to get that in. Let me get that into. Okay, let me get that. Actually, let me let the brakes charge. Let's get that to that. Audible warning reset. I've done the tutorial for it, and sort of it's quite a simple train, to be honest, to drive. It's not that crazy hard, but I think everything other than that, I think, is sort of set up and ready to like go. So we can just slap that into and we are sort of rolling, because forward, and let's get going. Let's shunt out of here on the middle sidings here. Whiskey Sierra something, didn't read the number, but that is the elevated ground position light that gives us the actual road into platform 2 at Harrow and Wealdstone. And I am speeding a bit, that's fine. Get up. Wow, that really did slow down. These brakes are very good. These rear static brakes, amazing. Right, let's get that off and released, and let's roll into Harrow and Wealdstone. This is my first time actually playing on the whole route. I've only just I've only essentially just done the tutorial of how to just get this 1972 stock up and running. That's the only thing I've done. Let's get there. I've turned off that sort of thing that tells me where I'm supposed to like stop accurately. So I'm just going to have the marker there forward. Let's unlock the doors. Yeah, I know that's gonna annoy me that oh, we need to get the saloon lights on. EA overload MG. I think the saloon lights, where are they? Saloon light trip. Saloon light audible valve reset saloon. No, that trips them. Destination light on, gauge light. The remap for the gauge light, cab light. We can turn that off. Headlights on, stable, tail light on. Audible, saloon trip, saloon light. There we go. And it's super bright. And this is one thing I've seen with this. We'll just pick up this thing as well. Oh, no. Why? What? Excuse me? Taking stuff. What? No. Why are you doing that? I don't want to do that. Oh, why does it have this thing? I thought it was just one of those sort of things to... Oh my god. We'll be right back. And we are back. This game, I don't know. There's just some bits of it that are just a bit too arcadey for me. But I genuinely thought this was one of those sort of things that you just like pick up and... I don't know. But anyway, we should hopefully now soon be able to get going, even though we have a red signal. But yeah, hopefully we shouldn't have any more sort of hiccups, and we can fully get on our way, do this lovely little journey on the Bakerloo Line, one of my favorite tube lines in real life, because it's one of my local sort of like tube services that I like to use, and I love these trains a lot. They're just so nostalgic. The oldest sort of tube stock now available. Let's get the doors closed. Okay, so I have to close the doors and then they'll give me a release of signal. That's a bit weird. But that's fine, I suppose. That's fine. Right. Oh no, did I... Oh no, that's fine. Okay, it just reset there on the brake or valve. I think it's because when I got up, I didn't cancel the alarm thing, the vigilance alarm thing, so it probably just like put like the brakes back on emergency or something. But anyway, yeah, first time driving in this, doing the route completely. This, as I said, this route has a lot of sentiment to me because it's one of my local lines, a tube line that I use a lot to get into central London, and I think the last time that I've actually done any sort of kind of content on it on the channel was actually an open BVE. It was, yeah, I think it was like one of the old sort of open BVE routes, and I don't know if, I think you could do the whole route. I think you could do up to Harrow Wealdstone on that, but you could only do it from Elephant and Castle to Harrow Wealdstone. So I thought this would be great to just, in this video for this route in Train Sim World 2, it would be good to do the opposite way. So Harrow Wealdstone to Elephant and Castle. And obviously in this part of the route, we're actually driving alongside the West Coast Main Line, which is nice. I don't think there's any sort of like AI that's available for that as well. I don't think there's any sort of overground AI available for the Watford DC, even though we know that in Train Sim Classic there was a 378, and I think there is now with the West Coast Mainline South for Train Sim Classic, there is a, you know, they've done routes that would have the overground Watford DC, or even they have licenses to do the overground because they've already done it before. It'll be interesting to see if they pursue a 378 in this game and do maybe an overground. I would say overground in Train Sim World 2 would be actually really, really good. Jesus, that was. Oh well, we're in the crux of the we're in the crux of the platform, so that's all that really matters. Anyway, first station on the line is Kenton. Just get my bearings around with this free camera. Still, all these objects can't go through them or phase through them like in Train Sim Classic, but that's absolutely fine. Let's get the doors closed. Obviously, all of the doors close unanimously together in unison. But obviously in real life, you obviously have a few clackety doors, a few like stiff doors. I wish that was a bit, I wish each door was kind of like had a random sort of animation for it, which would be a lot more sort of like authentic to, it would be a lot more authentic to the sort of like doors that we like see in real life, because these doors are they have their own personality. The thing with the 1972 stock, it has personality, it has character, you know. People know them for their really, comfy, soft seats, the really soft, bouncy suspension, the noises. And I have to say, so far, the noises sound really not too bad on this. I feel from what I've played in the tunnels so far of this, the noises do feel a bit kind of, I don't even know what the word would be for, but it kind of sounds a little boring. It's just, there's not a lot of dynamic things going on. It's just like either you hear the same repeated loop of the audio over and over, and there's nothing really much else kind of to give it any sort of more flavor. And obviously, like recently I did a video on the Glasgow subway for Train Simulator Classic, and in that the audio was really good. I really loved the kind of sounds that you were hearing in the tunnels. It was a good array of sounds. It wasn't too repetitive, and everything was just nice. And then I've come into this, and it's a bit like the sounds are good, but I feel like the mix of the sounds are not the best that they can be. Right, and unlock right. Now, I do believe there is a kind of camera that I could use. If I can find, no, not that one, Samuel, not that one. Would it be? Yeah, probably this sort, to do some sort of kind of like look back would be the appropriate thing. But the thing is, I don't understand why these CCTV, and I don't get why these like CCTV like kind of DOO monitors are not like animated in, because with Train Sim World 2 or Train Sim World, like there is reflections. There's like real-time reflections in some of like the mirrors, and you'll see that in some of the underground stations that we get onto later on. There are actually, the reflections are real-time. So essentially, if you can do real-time reflections, you can do like sort of video in video, picture in picture, sort of live kind of feeds of like other parts of the game on like a monitor or something like that. But this line is so relaxing to play on. I love it. It's just calming. The noise is a bit subdued, to be quite honest, because in real life these are quite clackety trains, and you see a lot of Bakerloo Line tube drivers with the ear defenders on, and this is obviously once they're in the sort of like underground part, that's where it really hits with the noise. Right, let's go max on the brakes. These brakes, this is I do believe these trains have the sort of old Westinghouse sort of like braking system, I think. Or no, they don't. Or they? I'm not too sure. I feel that some of them do. Obviously it's rheostatic, but I feel that it's a Westinghouse brake that where you like when you put the brake on full, like say when you max out the brake, these trains work perfectly and stop almost perfectly all the time. It's like almost like with the Westinghouse brake, or I don't even know. Probably they do have the West. I think they do. No, that's the A stock. I don't know. Someone will let me know in the comments down below. But I feel with these brakes, it's like you go hard. They work best when you go hard on them. So if you're coming in at a good speed, that's why a lot of Bakerloo Line drivers, you feel when you're on the like approaching into the station, it goes really fast into the station. But the braking is really done well at like that sort of max speed. But when the braking on these is not as good is on the lower speed. So say if you coast a bit on lower speed and then want to reapply the brake, these trains don't really have that sort of they don't have that instant kind of thing that modern brakes do. So probably the best, as I said, is these brakes are the best when you're coming in at a higher speed, and then they're not so good when you want to reapply them when you're crawling at a lower speed kind of thing. I think they have rheostatic. Well, they have rheostatic, but I don't know about the Westinghouse brake. But I definitely know they have a sort of like an older sort of braking system than say modern, than say some of the kind of like modern, the modern kind of like tube stock that has obviously regenerative braking with the actual traction motors itself inverting, and that then becomes regen. With rheostatic, it's basically without regen but just dissipates as heat essentially. And next station will be Wembley Central, where you can change for London North Western services, Southern services, and I guess on match days at Wembley Stadium will be very, very, very busy. And we're coming up to a red signal. Maybe I think some of these signals and stuff on this map are actually release speed related, so approach release. There we go, perfect. As you can see back here on Wembley Central, you have the sort of like back entrance like bridge that kind of like takes you sort of back way towards. The station is nowhere near the stadium, by the way, but obviously because it's in Wembley, it has a lot of would have a lot of traffic that people will be using, say the West Coast Main Line or even the Bakerloo Line. And why am I'm stuck? Honestly, this free cam in this game is just. I don't know. I have too many opinions for it, but that's Train Sim World 2. But we have Train Sim World 3 to look forward to. I'm not too crazy excited for it because there's not really a hell of a lot coming with it. It's essentially just a sort of like big update. The main one obviously being the dynamic weather, and to be honest, with Train Sim World, I've never really had any sort of concerns with the weather. I don't know if anyone else has this sort of same kind of opinion like me. I never thought Train Sim World had an issue with the weather. Like, I guess, yeah, dynamic weather would be nice instead of this kind of static weather, but when I look up in the sky, it's nice because obviously the Unreal Engine's really pretty to look at. The lighting's decent enough, even though there are some kind of questionable things with the lighting. Right, going now, the tracks of the well, I'll call this basically, it's just the Watford DC at this point. It crosses now back over to be on the, what would this be? This would be the east side. Yeah, this would be the east side, and what we were just on is the west side if I'm looking at it from like a north-south perspective. And this is then all the way down to Queen's Park, and then obviously if you continue on the Watford DC, you'll be going all the way to London Euston, which is the end terminus point of the West Coast Main Line. Passing the Wembley train care depot for like Avanti for London Overground. It's also a freight yard. We also have here the Bakerloo Line depot here at Stonebridge Park. where most services actually do terminate during the day. Right. Stonebridge Park. You can see these are the two sort of like siding entrance kind of depot roads that that lead in, and that's also where the terminating trains would go in to kind of do a shunt and do a change of ends. And I can't believe I'm getting some like a lot of frame drops. Like honestly, this game, I don't know, like it's stable sometimes and it isn't stable some of the other times. I'm getting a little bit of like frame drop or whatever. I'm not too sure why. Right. It would be okay. It would be nice. Actually, let me just. I'll start using the buttons maybe as well to mix it up. But yeah, it would be nice if like these screens here were sort of like kind of animated, you know, because why not? What's nice with this as well with most of the sort of kind of routes in Train Sim World, and it will continue into Train Sim World 3, is obviously you have the dot matrix displays, even though obviously this timetable is kind of a bit shocking, to be honest, for a Bakerloo Line sort of pattern. I know that there is a new, I don't know if it was in rush hour that they increased the timetable. I'm not too sure. I've not actually really played much of the sort of rush hour elements of the, you know, so when Train Sim World 2 came out, one of the biggest sort of updates for Train Sim World 2 during its sort of like life cycle was the rush hour update, or the rush hour mode, or I don't know what it was. Essentially, like, I think it increased the amount of kind of NPCs that were like boarding and lighting the trains. You had a high frequency timetable on some maps, but I don't know if this has affected this route that I'm now playing. I just have the actual base route and train, but I don't know if that affects it with the rush hour update that I think I do have. But this is a really patchy time for me to like remember what I do have and what I don't have, because this is obviously the time when I was basically on hiatus. I was still getting keys and stuff through the Dovetail Games Ambassador Program, you know. I'm a Dovetail Ambassador, so get some keys thrown my way to make content for you guys. But yeah, this was a time where, I don't know, I'm pretty sure I was probably sent it. I don't know if I updated my game for it, but I do believe this was one of the routes that was included with the rush hour update, and got some boost in sort of timetable, because I think that was one of the biggest criticisms when this train DLC and kind of starter route for Train Sim World 2 came out. It was that like, well, it's great, but like there's not much trains. Like, how can you, like, there's a train every like minute or 2-3 minutes on the Bakerloo Line, and in the game it's like every 15 minutes. So I get that sort of like complaint here. And we're coming into Harlesden. One of my local stations. Don't use it that much as I used to. Probably used it a lot when I was younger. Wow, that screen is so close. Look at that. Actually, let's use the buttons. Let's be a little bit like, you know, a bit more interactive instead of using the tab. And I wish there was a key though. Like, I really wish, that's one thing I do like miss from the sort of like classic game, is just I like where you could just pull in and just press a key on your I know maybe you could map it. I don't know if you can. But it is a bit annoying when you come in and you just want to press a key instead of having to click it physically, or actually press tab and have to lock or unlock. Right. And why am I hearing? I don't know why I'm hearing. See, this is some of the sound kind of issues I have with this train. Is the clicking you hear is the relay switching in the for the traction motors, because this is old traction motor sort of like technology where you even have relay switches where there's like, I don't know how to explain relays. They sort of like they're kind of like gears for electric motors in a way, but not gears. They're not. It's not like a normal kind of combustion engine sort of gear, but it's sort of like relays for set sort of speeds and, like, you know, power outputs, if that's even how to explain it. I might be completely trashing the explanation of what like electrical relays and stuff like that, but like that clicking you hear is like very common with sort of like the kind of Metro Camel and very old sort of stock, even like old slam door kind of like third rail stock back in the day, like had like these kind of like relays in there, sort of like traction motor packages. But it's a really nice sound to hear, but I don't understand why when I close the doors I hear that sound. I should only be hearing that sound when I'm like actually like, you can hear it when you're braking and when you're taking power. So it's a bit weird. And now we come into my local station, one of the closest stations to me, Willesden Junction, a trifecta of an absolute trifecta of lines here that converge. You have the North London line on the high level, you have the Warwick DC line at the bottom level with a kind of terminating platform here, which is kind of used rarely. It's mainly put like a shunt into the Willesden maintenance depot. But I think we might need a little, I think that might have to work out like that, right? There's a good opportunity here for, obviously I would love to just put my local station in the thumbnail. Like, why not? Why not? There we go. Perfect. And now we can get back to business. And I'm still not like completely content with these sort of red signals, that they're just being held at red until I close the door, which is I don't know. I'm not too... Oh, and I forgot to put the instruments lights on. Oh, just do that now. See, why am I hearing the relay switches? Like, why? I don't know. Like, visually, this looks fine. The train looks nice. The route I'm driving looks decent enough. I feel that there are some details and stuff like that missing, because obviously I know this route by heart, kind of visually how it's supposed to look like, and I can already tell you that it's pretty much not there fully. But for someone that's never been on this route and wants a kind of visual representation, this is great. It's fantastic, you know, really well detailed. But obviously for me, someone that's a local to this actual route and knows kind of like all the sort of like, you know, kind of things that I see every day visually, it's definitely not there. But so far, I'm enjoying it. It's great. It's quite easy train to drive, quite forgiving with the braking because the brakes are phenomenal. Acceleration is a bit iffy. I would have thought it would have been a lot more nippier off the line. And normally with some of the kind of stock in Train Sim World is you literally put the accelerator in and it just goes. And obviously my last Train Sim World 2 video, when I was doing the class 484, the D train, that literally you put it into the accelerator and it goes. While this one, like I expect, is a tube stock. It should be able to just go off the mark and, you know, shouldn't be waiting for anything. But let's get a bit of, get the window down a little bit, get the wind in our hair. And now we come to another issue with this route, which as soon as I got into a tunnel and I realized, oh, right, it's just the way that the tunnel is lit up is just not doing it for me. Again, coming from the Glasgow subway, built by Thomson Interactive for Train Sim Classic, the way that the lighting in Train Sim Classic is done in tunnels is just so much better. I do not like the way the lighting is done in Train Sim World, and I think it should be a lot better considering it's like in Unreal Engine 4. There we go. And the sound for the doors, like why am I not hearing it? Like if I go outside and open the doors, I'll hear the proper like full clank of the doors opening. But in the cab, and even with the window rolled down, I can't hear the doors when I give door release, which is a bit annoying. Right, stand clear. If you want to know, by the way, this little board above the signal identification plate number it indicates that this signal is an automatic signal. So the signal, the signaler can sort of control this, but normally left by default, it basically, oh, did I do something here? Is it going to build up? Does it need to build up pressure again? Let me just do that, put it in enter. And hopefully now, if I put in forward, we should be able to go. No? Did I do something wrong? Alright, let's do this again. You guys do not want to know how long I spent trying to figure out how to make this train move, and to be honest, I didn't figure out how or what was making it not move. I just restarted the whole thing and just basically continued from where we left off with that rather annoying little break in the journey there at the Kensal Green. I don't know if it had something to do with, because I know there's two modes that you can drive this train, where you can have a mode where it bypasses having the window open, having the cab window open, but I'm not too sure. I don't know what was causing the train not to move. I tried resetting the train, tried doing it off, doing it from dead back on, and it just was not having it. I just couldn't work out what was the actual thing, but no matter. I will endeavor and I will continue. I've tried to keep to time with on this sort of run now, this sort of like fresher run, but I can tell you right now, it is it's really hard to it's really hard to keep up to time with this route. I was even like laser focused. I was like, every stop, just open, close, go. Like no waiting around kind of thing. But even with that, it's so difficult to do it. As we now going through Queen's Park light maintenance depot. Well, it's kind of like a sort of sidings depot. It's just a glorified sort of sidings with actually like a roof on top. But this is our last station before we head underground. And I'm not going to go out there and activate any of those things, because I don't know what they'll activate onto. Because I thought there was those little collectibles, but they're not. But yeah, this is where we leave the sort of network rail part of the route. And it's all now LUL from here. Yeah, I can see like here, Queen's Park is definitely not modeled correctly here. Like this whole, all you see with this brickwork and stuff and like that, it's not like that in real life. It's like there's a lot of cabling and stuff here. It's very kind of darker than this in terms of like, it's very kind of bright with this sort of like light colored brick. It's not that kind of stuff. What I also noticed is that actually the tripcock system is actually simulated in this, which is actually pretty cool. So when you see the signal here, this Bravo or BB3, whatever they want to call it, in the London Underground, this thing will actually lower, because this is the actual thing that when the signal's at danger, this thing is pulled up, and then when the train goes over it, it will trip the emergency brakes. But let's just close the doors, because now that I'm back onto recording and commentating, my actual timetabling will go out the window. But yeah, as you can see, look, it's lowered because now it's green. You can look out for those on some of these now signals that we're going to on the underground stations, but it's probably going to be a lot harder to see that little tripcock device on the underground stations, to be quite honest, because it's all going to be so dark, isn't it? Anyway, as we now descend on our journey to Elephant and Castle today, we're probably going to need a bit of Rio stack 1 and hold. No, we can now take power. That is great. And now we lower into the abyss of the tunnel, and as you can see, the lighting is very sus, very questionable. Like, look, okay, look, it's a bit better now in the tunnel, where the sort of rings of the tunnel are lit up, but I think it should just halo a little bit more ahead, just a little bit, so I could just see a bit of the track, because I find that it's really off-putting that you can't see anything like off the track. Right, Coburn Park. Everything seems a lot faster now in the underground section. And that's even the case. When I ride the Bakerloo line, it feels so slow when it's out and about on the sort of network rail park. But once it's in the actual underground tunnels, it comes into its own. It feels like it's super fast. Let's use the clicking motion here. Of course, I can't go into free cam anymore. I can only do kind of this. I don't think you can actually go into free cam. That's fine. We'll be in on a sort of comfy cab. Let's get the doors closed. Next station, Maida Vale. Now, what I'm also noticing is when I slam it all the way into parallel, it really just shoots off the line. I don't like it. It's kind of really jerky. And do you know, there are some 1972 stocks that are a little bit of that sort of persuasion, that a bit of characterfulness. They just jolt off. But I want to try and drive as smooth as I can. Even though I do like it when it's a fast sort of Bakerloo line tube drive in real life. It's just, it makes the experience and the drive a lot more enjoyable. And then when you get someone that's very slow and very just conservative, it's kind of like, oh my god, I'm not getting my ride's worth here on this 1972 stock. But yeah, the ambience, the sort of sounds and stuff as well in the tunnel is no different to when we were sort of like outside. There's a little bit of like tunnel echo, but not anything, as I said, this is, it's really interesting that obviously I've now played the Glasgow Subway and Train Sim Classic, as I keep banging on about in this video. But it's really the only thing I have to kind of go in my head. I can sort of remember the Open BVE Bakerloo line that I played, but I can't really judge Open BVE to this. Graphically, obviously, this is superior, but I think I have to say the sounds in Open BVE, I think, are better. Definitely. Open BVE, with one thing I have to commend it, the sounds. If the creator or the mapper that was doing the trains and the sounds of the map on Open BVE, if they did it right, it really did hit. Right, staying clear. Little horn. If I now go into parallel, there you go. It just shoots off. It gets to like about 7 miles per hour, and then it just goes like just hellfire, really. But that's fine. Some of these motors, they're designed for this sort of like. And why those? Why did you see those 4 bits of track that were just lit up for no reason? I don't know what that's about. The next station is Warwick Avenue. A light here for Little Venice. Which it is actually like Little Venice. It's a little on the Grand Union Canal. It's like a little kind of like, sort of like, doesn't look like Venice, but like I get the vibe that it's trying to go for. But it's kind of cute. Just the little shops and bars and stuff, and some of the building facades are quite nice in the area. And then the Grand Union kind of follows down to the sort of like Paddington way. It it's so daunting not being like, not to see any sort of glow of the lights from the station ahead in the tunnel. So like literally as soon as you turn the corner and you see the literal station part of the tunnel open up, that's the only time you actually visually see it, which is... that will do. That will do. That's the only time you visually... oh, whoa. Wow, look at the textures now. They're not lit up. It looks a bit sinister. Let's do that. Let's have the light on the right. Strength of the doors, X station Paddington. There we go, as we get going. Okay, that gives a little bit of ambience, I'm not gonna lie, with the cab light on. It's not too bad. I guess for the video, it's at least good for you guys so you can actually visually see something, because if I turn it off, it's literally just pitch black and you just have a little bit of the ringing of the actual structure of the tunnel that you can see with the headlights. That's the only thing that really lights up the actual tunnel with the lighting. But yeah, it's just so annoying that I can't see anything ahead. It's just a black hole. Okay, there's a signal, but it's just like the signal light is not even, you know, it's not even reflecting any sort of light on the tunnel, which it's just so weird and bizarre, because you'd be surprised, tunnels, even though they're pretty dark, you can see a lot. Your eyes adjust. So here, this is not too bad. You can see but it still doesn't illuminate inside the tunnel. The light doesn't refract and refract. What was it? But more reflect, not refract. But it doesn't reflect into the tunnel and give like a little bit of illumination in the tunnel. And I have to say, Paddington, I'm not liking the way this station's modeled. This doesn't... It looks a bit like Paddington, but I wouldn't say it is like the actual Paddington. A nice try. Let's get that. Can we... Yeah, that looks very... Yeah, the lighting as well in these stations, very bad. I know there is a sort of patch or something for this route, if I'm not mistaken. I think there is some sort of lighting patch that that someone did make, and it did kind of improve the sort of ambience, because these lights in these stations are kind of super bright. There are some, don't get me wrong, there are some stations on the Bakerloo line that are quite bright, but not that bright. And I think also in the game, in the game engine on this Unreal 4 engine, it kind of looks it's just a bit glary, a bit bloomy. Next station is Edgware Road, one of two Edgware Road stations. There's one for the Bakerloo line and there's one for the Circle, Hammersmith and City and District line. But yeah, like for me the sounds are just really muted. In Train Sim Classic, the sounds are very echoey in the tunnel. The sound sort of like, I don't know, it just reverberates a little bit too much and it makes it a bit too loud. And I get maybe for this game they kind of wanted to subdue it a bit, but it's still like, the only thing that really is sounding authentic is the sort of the flanging. That kind of sounds alright. Ooh. I'm being very, let's say lenient with my braking. I'm being very just to the last second. There we go. Next station, Marylebone, Marley, whatever you want to say. The funny way, obviously, is to say the the kind of like Marylebone, and it's just like, just say it quicker by saying Marylebone. But yeah, lovely station. The Chiltern part of the station is nice. See, look, like I can see now just a little glimpse of, because these two stations are very close together. But why is the light not illuminating like the tracks? Do you see what I mean? Like, I'm on the highest sort of graphical settings here. I would get this. I would get it if it was for like lower sort of like low graphic settings or whatever, that you don't have that sort of like light reflection or something like that bouncing off the tunnel. But for high settings, why it should be, you know, and then it's so super bright and it bounces off the whole kind of like interior of the stations, but it doesn't come through into the tunnel. It just kind of feels like the tunnel and the stations are sort of very disconnected, if that makes any sense. What would you look at that? Perfect. Unlock left. See, look, you have these static images, but you could have had real-time images, because there are actually, if you've noticed, there have been some like mirrors on top of the actual stations up here that actually have a sort of like real-time reflection. I don't understand why they could have then just put them on the screen there, and then you can actually, oh, didn't actually press the right button there. And then you could actually use the screens as actual real-time screens. Or even if it just played like a loop of like a video which had like a train coming in and opening its doors. Something just to... Oh. There we go. But it's nice that the actual image looks sort of like staticky and looks like it's sort of like a live image. I guess that's like better than what we've had before. And then why is it in the underground stations we have that, but in the overground network rail stations we just have a black kind of screen? Now, what would be interesting to see with Baker Street is if they've actually have the connecting sort of like junctions that connect up to the Jubilee line. That'd be really interesting to see. And I am speeding. Oh, low speed limits. Honestly, it feels like it would be going a lot faster, but no. You can see the repeater signal here, telling me that my next signal is red. And that's a lot of flanging. Wait, I don't think this station's modeled correctly. I'll take that. At least I didn't pass the signal. That would have been the probably. Oh, whoa! That's an interesting. It's an interesting angle. Yeah, you just saw the tripcop thing actually. You saw it lower there. But yeah, so what I unfortunately got distracted there by is obviously the layout of, oh, okay, there's the even though I can't see it because it's all pitch black, there's the junction from the Jubilee line. But I got distracted by the layout of Baker Street, because at the end of the kind of like London end platform, there are passageways straight over to shoot off to the Jubilee line. So it's just a bit weird not seeing that there. So that's a bit... These stations aren't that accurate. Let's just say that. Next up is Regents Park, like for ZFL, London Zoo. And I think this is a release on the right, actually. Whoa, wow. Talk about that curve hit me. This curve hit me. Wow. It's a bit too much flanging, and yeah, I don't know. The more I play this route, the more it's just making me kind of in the back of my mind sort of cringe a bit. Oh, and would you look at that? A reflection, even though the train is not necessarily modeled fully, but it is a real-time reflection. And how oh wow, we're like 7 minutes late, which I guess, okay, like, you know, there's only so much I can do, so it's hard to keep to a strict timetable like this. Yeah, I don't know. This route is a bit, it's a bit, I don't know. I can't, like, the more I'm playing it, the more it's just confusing me with the sort of details and stuff that I'm experiencing. Like, overall, it's okay. It's nice. But, like, the more I play it, the more I'm just like, oh, okay, right. But it was a really interesting call for Train Sim World 2. I didn't expect they would put an underground line straight away in like that. I guess it's not that difficult kind of route to do in terms of, like, it kind of drives half of it on sort of like network rail sort of territory, and then obviously just get the tunneling sort of kind of done properly, and there's not much assets in the tunnel. It's just the same sort of tunnel. Whoa. Some of these curves, man. As we come up to Oxford Circus. Like, I can already tell you, the Metro Cranwell sort of sounds I was hearing in the Glasgow subway were a lot better than this. Like, even that distinctive whine that I was, you know, complimenting of the Glasgow subway kind of stock is not here, which is kind of a bit upsetting because that's like really distinctive for like this stock of train. So it feels kind of ghostly, if that makes any sort of sense. Go. Because see, right now, why is it silent? These trains are not statically, they, like, when they're stationary, they are not silent. There is so much noise going on with, like, you know, ventilator fans in the saloon, the compressor will be going off, the actual whine that you can hear from like the heat extractor fans or the actual traction, you know, motors or whatever themselves whining. Like, it's just stuff like that. Like, it's just a bit ghostly, don't you think? It's just like, and this is the tube. Like, I'm driving on the tube and it's completely just, there's no ambience to it. You know what I mean? It's just pitch quiet. It's like I could be driving on the Isle of Wight. Like, so to me, it's a little bit dead. So hopefully, maybe if Dovetail Games come to do a oh yeah, start slowing down there a bit. If they come to do a similar type of another underground route, I think there's a lot of things from this route, at least, that there is to learn and improve upon. Because it feels dead. Like, I don't know. Like, it just. But let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of this route when it came out. What were you guys' initial thoughts? Obviously, I'm sort of like delayed to the party here because obviously this came out quite some time ago with Train Sim World 2 as one of the sort of starter routes, and obviously now I'm covering this route as the last Train Sim World 2 video on my channel, and I might play it again in Train Sim World 3 if there's any sort of like updates to it. I definitely wouldn't mind doing a video. Oh, wow. Whoa. Oh, this is lazy. Nah, this is lazy. That, no. I'm sorry. No. That little section there, that little open sort of like cover section there in the sort of like beginning part of Piccadilly Circus, that is probably one of the most sort of like in terms of like on the underground part section of the Bakerloo line, that's kind of a very sort of distinctive place of how it looks. And let me tell you right now, that was disappointing. It's not that big. It's not that glared up how it looked like there. It's not that spaced out. It's actually quite tight. That junction there is really tight. It literally just, as soon as the joining junction joins in, it just starts on the platform essentially. Like, it is a very tight sort of setup underground, that junction. And just coming into there, that was not what I was getting. So that's a little bit disappointing there. So what I'm kind of noticing is with this route, it's like some of the things are sort of detailed to a point, and then the actual accuracy of some of the layout and the actual like kind of spacing of stuff on the route is a bit. And you'd think on the underground section, the one where there's kind of less kind of things to kind of, you know, detail, you'd think that that would be done correctly. Oh, how I do not miss looking at different DLCs and routes in Train Sim. It makes me just realize that, you know, some stuff has moved on, some stuff obviously has not. And I probably would have, this would have been quite exciting obviously to play when it did come out, but wow, that is a lot of flanging. As we approach Charing Cross. Like, look, there's no sound. It's just, yeah, I don't know. The experience is decent enough. The actual driving of the train, I think, is the best thing about this route. Like, I think the actual handling of the traction. Yeah, even though I can't do it properly. I think definitely the driving, the actual action of this dead man's handle, and just the actual feel of the train, I think actually is spot on. Could be a little bit improved with some of the sort of accelerating kind of dynamics. But other than that, that is probably the only thing that I'm enjoying so far of like the actual route. See, like, look how the light here in this tunnel, like, look how the light just extends a bit more. Like, this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of what the tunnel needs, just a bit more visual up ahead like that, not just, you know, complete pitch black. Like, it's, I don't know, I feel like this route's just making me salty. It's just, the more I play it, the more salty I'm getting. But do let me know. I would love to know you guys' opinions down below. What do you think of this route? I know it's a bit late, as I said, to the party, but in terms of when this was released, but I'm finally getting to it. And I thought it was a nice poetic way of making it my last Train Sim World 2 video. As this technically should have been my first Train Sim World 2 video. But I got there in the end. Yeah, Embankment and Charing Cross, very close stations. Man, look how bright that is. There we go. And even some like announcements and stuff on the platform would have been like, you know, would have added a bit more ambience to the route. Like, stuff like these labels and stuff are nice. Like, there are some good, like, there are generally good things about this route, but just the clocks are nicely modeled and animated. They work. There is announcements actually, but they're just very low and they don't echo around the station. Like, that's the thing that should be echoing around in terms of sound. That's the thing that should be like, I should be able to hear, you know, Mind the Gap, or, you know, all services on TFR running good service, like, you know, stuff like that. Oh, a little bit more speed now as we cross the River Thames to Waterloo, our next station. I do think after Waterloo, I think it's just Lambeth North and Elephant and Castle, so pretty much near the end of our journey here on the Bakerloo line for Trains and World. Ooh, very tight curve. Yeah, I think this is one of the tightest curves on the actual Bakerloo line. And what are these flanges? I don't know. Ooh. I don't know, some of the way that some of the sound files on this map have been compiled just sound off. Like, really off. I don't know. That sounded like a mess. Like, yeah, the train's supposed to flange there. It's a, you know, a very tight corner, but I don't know, the way that all those flange sounds were like hitting me in my headphones. I was just like, kind of like, oh, all right. Right, Lambeth North. And also what's in this map is you have the London Road, London Bridge Road, London Road Depot. See, look how the tunnel here has, there's some sort of reflective strips or something, like even something like that. Why wasn't this like actually like more, why wasn't there more of this in the tunnels? Because this is what the tunnels are missing, just something that an extra bit of light catches. Because I've not been seeing this, or like now I've just literally been seeing this as soon as we just like left Waterloo. But stuff like that just adds just a bit of extra detail there in the tunnels. Right. Lambeth North, and we passed there the points for London Road Depot. There we go. Next and final stop is Elephant and Castle. And change for the Northern Line. I think it's the Bank branch. Right, get the doors locked. Yeah, little trip clock going down there, love that. And then we'll see the actual junction that leads into Elephant and Castle, where you can get put onto either platform. I find it fascinating with the Bakerloo line. I think it's one of the only... Obviously you have the Victoria line, that's fully underground and has underground terminuses, but the Bakerloo line is one of the only... I think it's one of the only Zone 1 terminating... Has only Zone 1 terminus on the underground, I think. Which is underground. is the... Oh, 10 mile per hour. Well, it's not as fast as the Victoria Line's points into Brixton. Yeah, look at, like, the lateness there of the, like, lighting up of that tunnel. Like, just, oh, I don't know. Oh, there we go, Elephant and Castle. There are some sidings that actually go ahead here from the station, but maybe one day in the future, maybe an extension to Hayes or Lewisham, potentially. It's a really, like, weird metal whining sound, which I've never heard on the Bakerloo line. Right, if I now open the doors, I can essentially put this into shutdown. It'll allow me shutdown. And we will take that off. And we will... Yes, I can get off my chair now and take that off, take the key. And oh, really? So when I cab off, the saloon lights go off. I guess fine. I don't know. Anyway, guys, that was an interesting journey. That was something. That was the Bakerloo line. Oh wow, that train literally was just behind me. That train was literally behind me. But anyway, that was the Bakerloo line for Train Sim World 2. This is unfortunately my last Train Sim World 2 video. But no matter, we are going into Train Sim World 3. I'm gonna, hopefully, I don't know when I'm recording this, but it's not too long till the release of Train Sim World 3, and I'll probably be recording some videos for that of like the free kind of like starter routes that that are available. Use your words, QwertyAfro. That are available for the actual starter packs for Train Sim World 3. I'll probably try and get some sort of like videos on those, maybe some tutorials. I don't know, we shall see. But this is my last Train Sim World 2 video. Next time will be Train Sim World 3. Overall, as I said, with this route and train and line, I don't know, a bit confusing. The train is nice. The handling of the train, probably my highlight for this route. Really nice. The animations for the train are quite nice, and some of the kind of actual sounds are decent enough, but then everything else around the route, detail wise, probably the outside is actually better than the actual underground part, which is a bit confusing considering that the underground part should be the more of the highlight. Let me just do no so the AI takes it. But yeah, the underground part of this route is actually worse than the overground part. Oh, and my cat is actually taking the screenshots there, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I preferred the outside part, which was decently detailed, but the actual interior of the underground stations was not that great. And the sounds and stuff like that, just a bit muted. The tunnels obviously a bit too dark. But other than that, guys, oh, and there's the announcement, and then my cat actually, she pressed the button to minimize the actual the game, so it looks a little bit smaller for you guys. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this Train Sim World 2 video of the Bakerloo line. I will see you in Train Sim World 3, as it will be that for the next video. I hope you guys have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.